this one's, you can take this either way. What would be your advice for someone picking a show, and then how do you pick a show?
I really just look online. Like, I honestly look at location first just to see the least distance I have to travel. The Arkansas shows were obviously convenient, and then I've been to some shows in Tulsa and Missouri, so that's kind of where I've stayed. And then obviously the national shows, you have to travel, but if you're on the national radar, then you just have to pick one because those locations are set anyways. And then state shows, I like staying local for your first show just because you're kind of getting to know the promoters of your area and the competitors of your area, and you can make like local friends that way. But honestly, I don't really have a preference. Like with my first time girls, I try not to pick a giant show like the Kentucky Muscle or something, but they can pretty much do whatever show they feel like they want to do.
Okay. How about yourself? Do you have anything in mind? Or what are you
my pro debut?
Looking for these days?
Yeah, I'm doing the Arkansas pro debut, so September 22nd. I haven't told my Instagram yet, so the 19 people that are watching this, you guys will know. But
all right.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking September 22nd is going to be my pro debut, and JC is doing that show as well on the amateur level. And then I think I have like 5 girls doing it in the bikini division, so it'll be a very busy weekend for me, but I'm excited.
How frequently do you do it?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And you get to keep it close to home. So what's your current training split like? How frequently are you in the gym, and then how frequently do you do body parts?
Yeah.
Roughly, if you could simplify it for everyone.
Yeah, right now I'm in the gym probably 5 to 6 times a week. When I was just getting into bodybuilding and I was trying to grow and like fit this bikini mold, I was in the gym like every day, sometimes twice a day. But I think that was just more of a preference thing. I have never really followed like a strict programming protocol or anything. Like, I don't really track my weights. I don't really track my sets. And I know for some people that sounds really weird because you're not seeing the progression. But in my mind, like, as long as I'm going in the gym and every time I'm going in there, I'm pushing myself to failure and I know where that rep range should be, like, I don't really feel like I need to keep up with that as long as my weight is progressing, or as long as I'm getting better at the movement, or if my endurance is getting better or something like that. So I look at like those differences, not so much like tracking it on paper. Let me see how much I'm going up every week or whatever. Sorry, what was your question? I forgot. I'm like off on a tangent now.
So you answered it well. So how frequently do you do each body part with that?
Oh yeah, okay, so glutes, obviously, last year I got off the national stage and I could see my physique. I was like, wow, I am lacking just posterior chain. I need a little bit more glute development, a little bit more hamstring development. And then going to the pro division, I'm like looking at those girls, and those girls have freaking stallion legs. So now I'm like really working on my lower half. So this off season I've been hitting glutes, hams with a quad accessory day. So 3 times a week I'm hitting glutes and hams, and then one of those days is like a lighter weight glute ham day, and then I throw in some like plyos and quad exercises, but I don't do any heavy weight with my quads right now, just because I have quads from soccer. I don't really need anymore, so I'm just trying to balance everything now. Okay. So 3 times a week is glutes, hams / quads, and then the rest of my upper body days, so anywhere from 2 to 3 times a week is upper body, and it's just like a full upper body split. Like, I'll just do it all.
Okay. And then what's your current diet like? Do you write that down? Are you a paper person with that?
Yes. Well, previous off seasons I have not been the best. I have just like I get finished with my show and I'm like, woo, Kentucky Fried Chicken, like, let's go party. And so I just go ham with food like the last 3 off seasons, and I've honestly put on like anywhere from 20 to 25 pounds of body fat, like not just body fat, but just within a very crucial post-show time frame. I have put on weight very quickly, and I feel like this off season is the first off season where I've had some sort of like structured reverse out, and I've decently kind of followed it up until like my maintenance right now. So I just started my mini cut this week, and I'm with Paul Ravella. He's with Pro Physique now. He's out of Tampa. So I signed with a new coach. This was after my show, or after my pro win last year. And he reversed me out. And my maintenance got to, it was like 230 carbs, like 60 grams of fat, and 140 protein or something, which still isn't great macros. Like, it's still not like macro goals or anything, but that is seriously macro goals to me. Like, I feel like I'm eating so much. And so I'll be excited to lean down kind of like with a new method and a new coach and kind of see just how everything plays out this year. So.
How does that sort of change?
That's awesome. We're all excited to see you in the show for sure. We'll definitely be rooting for you. So talking about all these different ways to prep for a show or whatnot, how does that sort of change? You might not have the best idea of how it's going to change this time, but generally, how is your training going into a show and your diet going into a show? What generally happens?
Honestly, it's about the same as what it is now. It's just tapered off. So I pretty much train the same way as I do all through prep. I eat the same foods and the same timing and like macronutrient timing. Like, I keep all of that pretty much consistent. It's just in smaller portions as it gets closer to show. So I keep that pretty similar with my clients as well. Like, I'll have them strength training, progressive overloading, like all the way through show, unless they're just dealing with like crazy recovery issues where they're just not recovering for like 4 or 5 days. Sometimes I'll give them like lighter weight and a little bit more volume instead of just progressive overloading and killing them with weight. But that's real. Like, I like to keep as much strength training as I can just to preserve muscle mass as we're leaning down. So.
Inspired.
All right, there you're referencing clients and stuff like that. It's a good point to segue into Stacked Asthestics.
Yeah.
Aesthetics.
I know, it's kind of hard
how
to
did
say
that
Stacked
start?
Asthestics.
How did that start? What inspired that?
Honestly, like, okay, well, whenever I transferred to U of A, because I did 2 years at Lyon College playing soccer, and then I transferred to U of A, switched my major, kind of went more of the kinesiology route, because I was an art major at Lyon, and I knew I did not want to be a starving artist. So when I transferred, I was like, all right, let's find a new profession. So I actually went into coaching and teaching, which isn't much better, to be honest, but I knew I was just going to get my degree and then kind of do something with personal training. So when I transferred, I got certified to be a personal trainer, and the last 3 years of college, so I was a 5-year graduate, no big deal. But the last 3 years, I was kind of putting myself through school with personal training after class. So I would set up my schedule where I had like an 8 a.m. class till about noon, and then I would go train and then come home, and I would personal train like out of my apartment complex gym for like hours until like 10 or 11 o'clock at night. And that's kind of what I did to put myself through college and to just have like extra spending money and all that stuff. My parents were still helping me, but it was just, that was my job. I didn't want to go do anything else. And so I probably had 20 clients in person built up. And then at the same time, I was kind of building my social media at the same time. And so I had people like reaching out on social media, asking if I would train them just through online. And then I was like, wow, I've never really thought about training online, but I guess I can give it a try. So then that started growing, junior and senior year, and then super senior year of college. But those first 2 years of training, I was kind of growing both. It was more of online clients and then more in-person clients. And then after I graduated, I was just like, dang, I have enough online clients that I could probably make this, my full-time job. So I did. So I just got rid of my in-person clients or like moved them to an online plan. And it just kind of started. Like I just had, 20 girls online at one point, and I was sitting there thinking like, dang, I need a team. Like maybe this is actually going to do something. So I started snowballing ideas with JC, and he was actually the one that came up with the Stacked Asthestics. So it all worked out. But that's kind of how it came together, and that was 2 years ago. And now it's just continued to grow, and now I have a team of like 35 to 40 girls, and it's just crazy, and I love it. So it's awesome.
All right, yeah, heck yeah. You mentioned that you're having 5 girls go down to the show that you were debuting your at.
Yes.
are there any clients that you want to sort of highlight or mention?
Well, they have national competitors this year. Nicole Garrison, she has taken like a super long off season with me. I think she's been with me for like 2.5 years, and we had a very successful first season. And I told her, you know, after she got her national qualification, she was going to need like a full growing year to come back ready for nationals. And this physique that she is bringing this year, like, I will be very surprised if she doesn't win her pro card this year, you know, competing in the national circuit, just because she's got a lot of muscle. And then I've got 3 or 4 more that I feel like are right there, and they're going to be very competitive this year on a national stage. And then I've got some more that don't have national qualifications yet, but I feel like we can get them this year, and if we come in ready for those state shows, we can grab it and then go to a national show. So my goal for this season is to more compete on like the national circuit as a coach too, then focus on like the state shows. Obviously the state shows are like very important, but I'm just wanting to kind of gravitate more towards like that national level of competitors on my team. So if I can get everyone who is at a state level up and going into nationals, we'll be smooth sailing this year.
So what's more nerve-wracking, being on stage or watching one of your competitors on stage?
This is a great question. I feel like I'm such a like a soccer mom. Like when I'm in the crowd and I see my girls step on stage, I'm like, oh my gosh, like freaking out. I would be holding up signs if I could. Like my voice is hoarse by the end of it. So I really feel like, as far as nerves go, I feel like I'm worse as a coach than a competitor. Like when I'm a competitor, if my body is ready and like I'm feeling good about my physique, I'm pretty good mentally too. Like I don't let the stress of like the show day get to me very much. But if I'm not ready going into a show, which I've been there too, then I'm stressing. So the point is just be ready for that show, so it's like a stress-free process going through.
All right. Well, it was great. Thanks for joining us, and and just we want to wish you luck. We'd love to hate to give you the belt again next year if you win a few pro shows and just take everything by storm. So we wish you well.
There's competitors in Arkansas, so hopefully a few will be joining me this year. But we'll see.
Thank you again. Is there anything else that you want to mention?
No, I just want to thank you guys again for just the entire page. I know you're on your Dwight the Twig account, but the Arkansas Bodybuilding page is just a really cool thing you're a part of, and then the whole page, whoever's behind it, it's cool that you guys are highlighting Arkansas athletes, because I feel like, especially with bodybuilding and NPC, IFBB, there's just not a very competitive group here. I hate to say that, but hopefully it's going to change soon. But I just like that you guys are at least highlighting and acknowledging some of the athletes here. So thank y'all as well.
Oh yeah, and hopefully we can unite some trainers and some athletes and just keep it all moving up.
All right, well, thank you again.
All righty, have a good one.